Hi. So I was speaking in the previous part, please go check it out, gauge your bearings from there, about how it is that South Africa is trying to create some kind of an equilibrium power cut acceptance, otherwise known as a chaos homeostasis, like literally creating some kind of a balanced environment that is chaotic but nonetheless accepted because it's better than some other really chaotic situation. We are currently in an 8-hour power cut, and I've been speaking for a couple of those hours, I don't know how long, and understand that after going through this 8-hour situation, when they cut the power tomorrow for 3 hours, for 4 hours, it's going to be to me like, whew, at least it was only 4 hours. Are you serious? Why? Because yesterday you endured me through 8 hours? When under heaven has it ever been okay for an emerging market, a country that wants to grow its economy, when has it ever been okay for it to literally stand still, stop dead in its tracks without any movement, all of its businesses for an entire half a day? This is a Galilean dialectic, I can't say that enough. This has been going on for 17 years, and it's going to be going on for another 17 years if the Lord does not return. This whole situation is ushering in the Antichrist. I made a joke earlier about how it is that South Africa is so backward, and it's basically going back, regressing to the Stone Age, that what do you call this, that they are antichrist. Basically, even the Antichrist is not going to be able to work with South Africa because they don't do technology, because they switch off everything for hours on end, making sure that we can't even communicate with our international partners because all the telecommunications lines are down. I'm pretty sure that when the power comes back, whenever that might be, even our router is going to take a minute to juice up again, so we might not have a Wi-Fi for at least an hour, and that is therefore indicative of the fact that South Africa can't even talk to its international partners because of the power cut crisis, at least for a couple of hours. So we've got CEOs that can't like dial in to board meetings that are international, with one sitting in Spain, the other in Portugal, the other one is sitting in South Africa, the other one is sitting in Colombia, the other one is sitting in the United States of America. But hey, guess what? The South African CEO of our organization is not going to be able to clock in, so I guess we'll send him the minutes of the meeting, the minutes of which he will only be able to access after 48 hours, when finally the electrical grid, sorry, but the telecommunications companies, like, you know, re-energize themselves again now that the power is back. Can you unravel an economy further than that? Cyril Ramaphosa is acting like he's content that Nigeria is Africa's leading economy, and Nigeria was the first one to do ridiculous power cuts, and yet it exceeds us when we're supposed to be beyond them. Cyril Ramaphosa is acting as if though it is okay for a president to be running his term during a season when his whole country is being run into the ground. What kind of a president accepts such a failure as a president in his stride when there are solutions that he could obviously embark on? One that is involved in some other nefarious agenda that he has to proliferate, even though it makes him look really bad. They are ushering in a one world government. They are creating a world catastrophe, a chaos so exorbitant on the global scale that we will all just bow down to being run by one global body despite being individual nations. God is the one that at the Tower of Babel created many nations by dividing tongues of people, and here it is that the world is trying to reunite us under one. God said when we are like that, there is no evil that we can't like fathom within our minds to do. So here it is that they're all working together to literally usher in some stupid agenda, and whatever it is, it's been prophesied about in the Bible. And here it is that people don't want to listen to believers, and YouTube is busy shadow banning me for stupid reasons. Now the game yesterday, purchasing my speaker, I walked in and it was so dark inside the store. The whole mall was brightly lit, so I didn't quite catch on to the fact that there was a power cut, because I guess Clearwater Mall operates on different like power grids than Game the store itself. I went there to go and buy this situation, and they were still selling tickets at the cinema. I remember thinking, why are you buying movie tickets? Are they going to be running generator power or something at the cinema? You know, the movie house joint was still nicely smelling of popcorn and everything, but then when I went into Game, it was so ominously dark on the inside. It was all dingy, looking like the Grinch that stole Christmas. And I was like, ha. And I realized that, oh, the power cut happened. Remember, I left the house at going on 4 p.m. when the power would be taken away. So by the time I arrived at the mall, it was already like 4 p.m. It already progressed. I was like, oh, that's why gave me. It's because there's a power cut, and all I could think about was, how in the world is this situation leading to the end of the world when the mark of the beast needs technology to operate? But my answer to that was precisely, these global leaders are deliberately withholding resources from the masses on the ground in order to get them to be so desperate for any solution at all, for any iota of electricity at all, for any spark of light at all, that they will take a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads. So it's not that South Africa is antichrist, and so it's gonna make the antichrist very frustrated with us on some, guys, get your technology act together. How is my Elon Musky Neuralink gonna work in the foreheads of these South Africans when there is no electrical power grid to charge them up when you want to download false information into their brains? I need electricity to work, so please get your act together, Eskom. Do whatever you need to do. Wind and solar power, use it, because I need electricity as the Antichrist in order to run them all in one accord. I have to switch on their chips. I can't do that without power. That's the Antichrist. Yeah, nice little joke I made there, except the Antichrist does not just merely rock up and is then all of a sudden embraced and accepted. The 10 kings of the earth give their authority over to the guy. Y'all need to understand the guy is raised up precisely because the world is fed up with their presidents. The world is upset that Cyril Ramaphosa kept us in the dark when there were all these solutions that were provided by so many people in the land. It is the disregard by presidents of obvious solutions of situations on the ground that should not be this bad, but they're getting bad, so bad that they are creating a gangrene that needs an amputation. They are leaving situations unchecked. They are letting a cancer metastasize when it's caught in its early stages, and it's unreasonable. You can't even understand why. They're just letting this like thrive, this sepsis in the body that's gonna ultimately just kill the whole being when you can just sever a limb and the person gets to live. It's a flesh-eating bacteria, like necrotizing fasciitis on your finger, on your like pinky. It is a flesh-eating bacteria on your pinky, and you could save your whole entire hand with mobility in all of your other fingers if you just, you know, put a scissor to this and cut it. Take the loss. You might even still be able to play the guitar without a pinky finger. But South Africa is literally causing the acceptance of an amputation of an entire limb. Never mind a limb, but the dying of an entire human being, because it dared spread even out of the arm and into now a part of the body that if you sever it, the person dies. It is an unnecessary spreading of a gangrene, of a cancer, and it is happening in broad daylight with conscious minds gawking upon it, and they are not even calling people to impeachment. They're not calling people to account for their, you know, like no vote of a vote of no confidence. Like nothing of that nature is happening. And of course, like a vote of no confidence for a president in a country has got to have members of parliament, and I believe it's a majority vote thing where it's like 50 to 49%. It is embarked upon by members within that same party and within parliament agreeing that this president gotta go. So if they're all in it together, understand the dude is gonna stay in power. Nothing can be done, because this is a strategy to utterly humiliate an entire global citizenship for the sake of ushering in a one world government. They're happy to take away life as we know it and the quietness and the comfort of it. Electricity, running water, basic things like those, all in the name of, if we don't run you like one little unitary military single space, you're gonna just like destroy your own land, except they're destroying their own countries in the spirit of fixing their own countries. So of course, when people get fed up enough with this attempt at a one world government, they will ultimately give all of their allegiance and worship and honor over to one guy that's going to be like, Cyril Ramaphosa, it's irresponsible that you're taking away South African power, so I'm going to give it back to them, but you got to get out of the way. Next part.